talk about telling your story. Living witness. Living witness is something that is important to us, that we are not dead witnesses, but we're actually living witnesses. We actually do it right now. So this whole month will be the first week talking about your story. Next week is loving others. The next week is how to live as a witness. And then the last week we're hoping to culminate into bringing a friend Sunday. And that is a Sunday where we want to encourage you to try and aim to bring someone new on that Sunday. We're not going to do anything more special than what we already do, but we thought, how cool would it be if we all decided to bring someone new and made a concerted effort to say, I'm going to try and bring someone new on that Sunday. If it means we have to turn you away so that they can have a seat, then we're willing to do that. Now, this is something that's really important, because being a witness basically means this. It means attestation of a fact or event, a testimony. That's a verb. And it also means one that gives evidence. That is a noun, right? And so you are someone who is meant to give evidence, or you're meant to give a testimony of what it is that we have seen and heard. In Acts chapter 1 verse 8, it says this, "But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth." Now this is the very last thing that Jesus spoke to his disciples before he gets Star Trek'd up to heaven where Jesus is, right? Where the Father is. And so Jesus said, you will be my witnesses. He didn't say you will be my disciples, you'll be my representatives. He said you will be my witnesses, which is a very specific term. He never used the word witnesses when he was ministering with them and to them. He only used the word witnesses when he left them. Now, I remember when as a child, and I grew up in church, my dad was a pastor, and he said he used to have a team that would go into town every Saturday, and they would do witnessing. And, as a child, I didn't really understand necessarily what he meant by witnessing, but I knew what they were going to do. Now, witnessing is what I would say is, if you're going to go witness something, it sounds like there's a legal thing going on, or you're going to witness someone getting crucified, or you're going to witness a crime or something, right? That's when we usually use the word witness. But using the word witness here has been very specific. And I remember my dad would send a team into town to go witnessing, and I would kind of want to throw up, because I don't want to go into town and be all weird and go, "Excuse me, do you know Jesus?" to strangers, right? It's just kind of, it feels weird, and I couldn't even say the word I couldn't say right? I couldn't say the word witness because it just made me convulse in such a way, because I felt it was awkward, embarrassed. And you always have that type of person who has the personality of the A-type, like, hey, we can do anything. We love everybody. I'm an extrovert. I wasn't. I was an introvert. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me. And you want me to go and witness for Jesus? How weird is this? Well, I think there is a difference between witnessing and preaching. You see, the last thing that Jesus said was to be a witness. A witness of what? Of what you have seen and heard. Even when you're reading the Gospel of John or you're reading the letters of John, he keeps repeating this. We know what we have seen and heard. What we have seen and what we have heard. What did you see and what did you hear? Well, I can't talk about Jesus being resurrected from the dead. I didn't see it. I can preach about it, I can teach about it, I can talk about it, but I can't witness to it. But there is a difference between preaching and witnessing. Preaching is when you're proclaiming or teaching. And it usually comes with some level of permission, right? So if right now I'm preaching to you because you came here for some strange reason, sat your butts down on this seat, right? You shut your First Amendment hole and you decided to listen to me, right? You decided to listen to me preaching to you, telling some truth of what is true, right? But when you witness, you're attesting to first-hand knowledge. That's a little bit different. That means if Jesus is alive and well in your life, then you should have first-hand knowledge of what he has done. My point is this, that Jesus said we are to be his witnesses. That means to tell the evidence of what you have experienced of Jesus. My question to you this morning is this: what evidence do you have? How do then you become a witness of evidence? It's simply this. Jesus said this, and he said it 21 times. Look at this. Follow me. That's what he said. Follow me. Now, this is a little bit different because many of us think of how do we get Jesus into our lives? How do I get him to be a part of my marriage? How do I get him to be a part of my finances, my business, my job, my family? How do I get him to be a part of my story? When the fact is, how do you become a part of what he's doing? Right? Take your entire life and slot it into the story, into the journey, into the ways of what Jesus is already doing. Where is Jesus? Well, I would guess that maybe he's up in the mountains up at Appalachia right now. Right? So maybe it's easy for Travis to come out and start talking about things. Why? Because God's doing amazing things in his life. Well, that's wonderful. No, what it came down to is he decided to go be a part of what Jesus was already doing. He saw the need, he saw the call and said, I'm going to go do something about that. Do I have the money? Do I have the time? Do I have the ability? No, but I know that Jesus wants to do it, so I'm going to go be a part of it. I'm telling you this morning, I want you to understand, you must be active in Jesus' life, which is the inverse of Jesus should be active in your life. No, you need to be active in Jesus' life. And once you're in the life of Jesus, then you become the evidence and you become the witness. And that's why it's easy to tell your story. That's why it's easy to talk about what Jesus has done. Why? Because I went and hung out with them, and you'll never guess what happened this week. You'll never guess. Crazy things happen. And it's amazing how people say, hey, how are you? Or, so what's happened with your week, right? People literally ask these questions. I was at the chiropractor the other day, and I'm telling you, it's as simple as this. And I understand, I have an accent, so sometimes people find me more interesting, right? I get it, right? But they always go, oh, you have an accent. Where are you from? I'm actually originally from Scotland via Popka. And then they'll say, what are you doing here? And that's my first permission to say, well, let me tell you. And then what my goal is to aim to tell them in about 30 to 60 seconds why I'm here, why I ended up here. And I've got a million different tributaries of my story that I could tell them about what God did in my life. And so what I'm doing is I'm giving evidence. I'm a witness to what he did in my life. I'm giving him evidence of, listen, I went and did this and I did that and then he told me to do this and here I am. I'm stuck in America and this is why I'm here. And inevitably they always go, and then I'll say, why are you here? And then they'll start telling me their story, and then inevitably they might go, so you're a pastor? Yes, I am a pastor. Now you might think, because you're a pastor, it's much easier to tell people about God. No, it's God that is evidence in your life. Just because I'm a pastor doesn't make me more capable than you. What is the evidence of God's movement in your life? And if you don't see that you're being a part of the story of God and what he's doing, then you might find that you don't actually have much to say. Maybe you've only got complaints to say. So here's a few suggestions I would give you. Number one, get active in what God is doing. Number two, once you do see what he's doing, figure out how to tell that story in 60 seconds. Number three, don't make it about you. Number four, ask the other person, now tell me about what's God doing in your life. People are ready. They're ready to respond to God, and sometimes they just need to hear you say what God has been doing in your life. So we're going to do something a little bit different this morning. Are you ready for that? Oh, the enthusiasm is rippling through the room. I can feel it. Oh, Jesus, come all over me. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to get you to turn to someone beside you, and it can be someone new, someone you already know. Maybe you'll do it in groups of 2 or 3 or 4. But I'm going to get you to turn to the person beside you, and I'm going to get you to ask them, all right, tell me what evidence you have in your life. What has God been doing in your life this week? What has he been doing this month? So tell me what's going on. And then tell them what's been happening in your life. And if you don't have much, then say, I don't really have anything. And then the other person is going to say, well, then maybe I should be praying for you that God will do something in your life, or that you will start doing something in God's life. Right? It's easy peasy. Now, what I've done is I've tried to talk long enough for you to start thinking, what should I say? 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 Well, you're going to do it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite Mr. Stagg to come out here just in a second, and he's going to end it after a few minutes, and he'll give you a few seconds to wind down your conversation. He'll give you last instructions, but now you should have thought of something already. Are you ready to turn to someone? Ready, steady, go.